You got to have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor. Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence and knowledge.
We want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium Series is definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan. I always have been. And to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me. And just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
And welcome to episode 381 of Sports on the Hill podcast. I'm joined by DC's People's Champ and by Dujanay Bland here, live for a Victory Monday. Champ, let people know how you're doing.
I'm good. I'm actually watching Monday Night Raw right now. AJ Lee, who made her return to WWE after 10 years, is actually cutting a promo. So I was taking a listen to hear what she had to say and everything like that. But I'm doing all right. How about y'all?
I'm very excited about AJ Lee. We'll definitely be talking about that return on SmackDown and what a great episode of SmackDown last week. I thought that they did a really good job with that, returning to Chicago. And so we'll definitely have stuff to talk about with that later. So I haven't watched Monday Night Raw yet. I'm actually watching a little bit of the live Monday Night Football game, so I'll be giving updates throughout the evening on that. I'm actually watching the Peyton Eli cast with closed captions because at least I figured that's more entertaining than the actual broadcast usually.
Peyton Manning called his own nephew a little shit and said he wasn't his nephew because he threw a pick on Saturday. What an asshole.
But, they've got like Saquon on right now, and before they had Bill Murray on. So, they're at least got some entertaining guests on tonight. So, right now the Bears are up 7-3 in the actual football game, if people are curious about that. Dujanay, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Just busy, but yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. It's cool that she came back, but I could really care less about AJ Lee, honestly. It's nice, but it's nice and cute and everything, but it's like, okay, But I'd rather see her than Nikki Bella, though.
Yeah. I like the storyline to try to get set up an obvious matchup between the husband and wives against each other. So I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, I was never like her biggest fan, but like I still think it's an interesting swerve to the storyline. And a lot of people thought that she would never make it back. She's been gone for Champ. How long has it been? It's been like a decade?
Over 3,800 days, about a little over 10 years. Like she left WWE. She announced her departure from WWE via retirement in July of 2015. And in that same month, that's when she got married to Punk. And Punk found out a couple of days before his wedding that his contract was terminated. He was released. And then next thing you know, in 2023, Punk returns. And now in 2025, AJ returns. And it just goes to show you that in this Triple H era, and I said this on the podcast that we just recorded, episode 299, which will be up tomorrow, you can always come home. You can always come home. And clearly, they're bringing people back home that if Vince was still in charge, would not even come close to coming back. CM Punk, AJ Lee, Cody Rhodes. Just those three right there, you wouldn't have got them back if Vince was still in charge. But with Triple H being in charge and Triple H having been a wrestler and a two-time Hall of Famer, he knows the business. He knows what's good for business, and he knows that you set up this story of Seth and Becky. You got and CM Punk. You got to bring AJ into the fold. It just would not have worked if it had been any other woman on the roster except his own wife.
Yeah. So I agree, and it'll be cool to see what happens. Sith is live in our Twitch chat, said that he thought it was a good emotional promo for that. He also wanted Bill Murray to quote the movie Stripes, which Sith could do in a heartbeat because it's one of his favorite comedies. I agree. And Troy is watching live on Facebook and said feeling good about it. Big Victory Monday, which will be our segue here. Dugenet, I was very excited. I thought there was a potential letdown. I will say that everybody on our panel did pick us to win this game. There were times early on I thought it could become a blowout. It got close at the end, as it always seems to do between these divisional opponents. But Dugenet, what were some of your thoughts on this first game of the season?
Typical first game in this new, era that we're in, where starters don't play much in the preseason. So first two games are, pretty much preseason games for a lot of these guys. It helps that there's a lot of continuity there in how they prepare. So that showed up on the football field, but they did leave. I thought it could be about 35 points, and I think they left a few out there. But that's typical for what we see, you know what I mean, during a week one deal. Offense, I thought, did really well. Outside of a few mistakes, dropping the ball doesn't help. Some delayed reaction where I'd like to have had Jaden make a quicker decision to leave the pocket instead of taking a sack or, it was basically taking a sack because those times he did make the late decisions, they were sacks. So I would like to see things better on that end, but you can't have too much to complain about with this particular start and what they did to the New York Giants. They basically, defensively just neutralized them. And I think folks were a little bit concerned about the guys up front and whether they would be a formidable bunch. But I thought they showed it in that preseason game they did play. They were pretty stout in the run. So it's a good start, man. A good start to a season at home against a division opponent. It doesn't get any better than that. So
for me, it's one of those have to win it games, right? Because you know that you're going to have to be on a short week against Green Bay, which I think will be a really tough out. And we'll obviously talk about that more. But also, New York is a team that historically, at least over the last decade, has started off poorly in seasons. So you got to take advantage of that. Like, it's not the same Giants team from 15 years ago that, used to give us fits all the time. Like, I was surprised. I thought they would have a little bit better quarterback play than they did, just because I thought Russell could maybe inject something into it. But it really shows me it's the system and it's the culture there more than anything, because we saw Daniel Jones light it up in his first game, where, he's not a Giant on a season opener. But, Dugenet, what were some of your thoughts on our opponent in this one?
It's the Giants organization, and it's how it's run. I mean, I don't know why anybody expected anything spectacular from Russ. I mean, did anybody not watch him in Pittsburgh? I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to get. And the fact that they have basically no interior help, that pocket was getting pushed back in his face. You're not going to have success that way. They couldn't get any running game going. There's no room to have any success. They have a formidable defense. I have great pieces along the front seven that can make plays, but if your offense is not staying out there long enough to give them a rest, and then your opponent's putting together, 6, 7, 8 play drives, they're running the football, they're spreading the ball around, they're making you defend sideline to sideline, it's tough. It's tough. So I'm not really that high on the Giants just because of leadership. And to go to your comment about Daniel Jones, everybody talks about that, man, but people forget about the fact that the boy had a running game. And in Indy, he has a running game. That's what was done during the time he had success with the Giants that's the formula. If you get outside of that formula, he's not going to be good. That's just who he is. I've been saying it since the Senior Bowl of who he is, and he's proven it time and time again. But he has the ability to be, good if you have that formula down pat.
For sure. Troy was asking about some total stats, so I thought I'd go through some of them. Total yards for Washington, 432. Passing, 212. Rushing, 220. Yards per play, 6.6. 25 first downs. We were 4 for 11. Ran 65 total plays, which is good. Only allowed 3 sacks. Only punted the ball 5 times. Had 89 total yards, penalties. I can't believe the Giants only had 35 yards of penalties. There seemed to be some lopsided officiating a little bit in that. But no fumbles lost, no interceptions thrown. Time of possession was pretty even, about 30 minutes for both sides. But overall, in a game where preseason seems to matter less and less, and you need to have kind of a get-right game, especially before Green Bay, I thought that they played well overall. But I want to get Champ's thoughts. What is some of your quick takeaways on this one?
A lot of people put the emphasis that preseason doesn't mean anything, but the amount of throws that JD5 missed from not throwing the football during the preseason spoke a lot of volumes, at least to me, from an offense. Because I pay more because I was hanging out with Carol and his lovely lady at their lovely home watching this game, and Carol pays more attention to the defense, so I pay more attention to the offensive side of things. And Ja'Cory Merritt, Krosky Merritt was a big bright spot for me, running for 86 yards on 10 carries and getting his first career regular season touchdown. He was a huge bright spot for me. But JD5 not throwing a single pass in the preseason showed in this regular season game. He missed a couple passes, like that long pass play on the left-hand side to Terry. Even my good friend Britt Brad said, if this is week 10, that's a completion.
I think that's more Terry than him, though. Terry wasn't there the whole time. So he's got a better connection with Debo than he does Terry right now. So I kind of blame that on Terry.
That's something else that really impressed me, was that Debo Samuel has come into the season with a chip on his shoulder. Everybody thought that he was washed up in San Fran. He gets traded here, and not only does he show up in the pass game, but he also shows how good he is in the jet screen game, in the jet passing game, getting that 19-yard touchdown to basically ice the game away from the Giants in this one. He really showed up here. But besides the pass to Terry, there were a few decisions that JD5 made that weren't the best decisions, and I think that goes to not having a lot of reps in game during the preseason. But I feel like a couple more games, he'll get all that corrected, and you'll start to see the JD5 that was the offensive rookie of the year last year, and you'll start to see why he was a top pick last season and things like that. But offensively, there were some hiccups, but they still managed to put up 21 points, while on the defensive side, the defense held them to no touchdowns. They only had 2 field goals from former Commanders kicker Graham Gano. I think that's a recipe for good success. I think the only thing defensively, gotta be able to get turnovers. I think that if they were to get like a couple of turnovers, I think this game would have been a lot more uglier than it was. But I'm happy. I was listening to the post game yesterday, and there was one dude that called in to Scott Jackson's Fred Smoot pissed off. And I'm like, wait, you're pissed off over a win? Are you fucking serious? Like, we won. It wasn't a pretty win, but it was a win nonetheless. Why are you mad? Yeah, I'm done. I'm happy. We got a victory on the very first game of the season, and it's a big confidence boost when you got to travel to Lambeau on a short week to face a Green Bay Packers team that did their job against their division rival.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough that we have to go to Green Bay after, getting traded some big weapons this season, and Green Bay already was dangerous. I don't know what Dallas was thinking about making a division. I know they're not in the division, but a conference foe even stronger. But Green Bay looked pretty good, at least in their first game. And I do think that we match up decently with them, but we definitely have to clean up some of it. My exciting part of it is the run game. I thought we had a little bit of addition by subtraction. I love B-Rob, but I thought that this new, where you get a bunch of different players running a bunch of different, whether it be option plays or straight ahead running, or I don't know. I was really excited about Bill. He is phenomenal. I loved him in college. I thought that he bounced around a lot. I think he was maybe underlooked at but he could do a lot of damage. I love Debo and how versatile he could be. I think he was running back kicks. He was he could be a wide receiver. He could be a running back, and he just seems to get stronger the more touches he gets with the ball. My kids were starting to scream Debo, so I was teaching them young. So they were all very excited. And but yeah, DJ, what are some of your thoughts on running back by committee?
It works out well. They all fit what they're trying to do, and B-Rob just didn't fit into that mold of what they're looking for, what they expect. So I think it's a good deal, and they got 3 solid backs that can get it done. So I think that's going to be the biggest improvement, but I think it's also improvement because your offensive line is a lot better as well. So I think it's a good room.
Yeah, I saw the offensive line make a couple of mistakes, but when they were starting like pulling guards sometimes and started to mix up protection and starting to roll him out a little bit more, and keeping the defense. And I got to give the Giants credit on the defensive side. That's a good defense, and I think that you'll see conversations about them being a decent defense throughout the season. I think that's probably their strongest point of that team, and so I think that they had to go against a lot of defensive linemen that are studs, and the rookie was having some trouble at least at first, but I thought that they were able to get some double protections and figure some stuff out. But DJ, what were some of your thoughts on the line?
I didn't think it was all that bad. You're going to lose some. That defensive front has always been good. Has been probably one of the better lines in football, especially in the NFC. So I none of it really concerned me at all with that. You're gonna win, and they're gonna win because they do have talent over there. So I thought they played well, picking up and blocking well down the field, receivers blocking well downfield. I thought they did great in pass protection, especially given the fact they ran the ball, but they didn't run the ball nearly as much as they didn't put it on the ground 30 times. You know what I mean? They asked them to pass block a lot, and for a front seven that can get off the line quickly and be a disruptor, they did a pretty good job of containing them and having some success.
So I thought that, for the most of the part, the Giants, the part that scares me is in their offensive passing game. Their running game didn't seem to scare me that much. Now, they'll play a lot of other teams throughout the season that'll have, I think, a better running attack. What are your thoughts on our defensive linemen and how we do against the run versus the pass?
Absolutely dangerous. I wasn't concerned about the Giants' offense, period. Right. Yes, they've got Malik Neighbors, but if you're getting and collapsing the pocket on any quarterback, it really doesn't matter who they have because they don't have time to get the ball off. So the biggest thing that dictated that was the fact that they couldn't run the football. They couldn't run the football against that front. And what I like about what they do is it is really about a lot of technical things. And one is that you'll see those guys come up, rush the passer, but it's a aggressive but controlled rush, meaning that, of course, they're coming up the field and trying to collapse the pocket, but they're not going to Bruce Smith it and shoot up the field and create natural lanes for the quarterback to run through. You saw sometimes they couldn't get home. Some guys tried to spin a little bit. If they couldn't do that, they kept pushing and they got their hand up. Those type of things are critical against quarterbacks who have the ability to use their legs. And I think that was a huge deal for them in this football game, being able to contain Russ and cutting down on a lot of the off-schedule plays. And when you have that type of play and with the talent they have at corner, it made it pretty difficult for them. And I love the fact that the guys were scoring to the football. Their tackling is sure and crisp. I mean, textbook tackles, getting guys down pretty much on the first go. It's a good look for this football team. And to have a defense that I feel like has that ruthless aggression to it, we're starting to see what Joe Witt was talking about in the beginning about arriving violently. We saw a lot of that this weekend.
Yeah, I was very impressed with just the whole team. I felt like, and the coach alluded to this after the game, that you need team wins like that. Like there are people that are gonna falter and stuff like that, but I thought overall our defense really picked it up in a lot of key possessions, and I thought they played really well.
And they forced a critical fumble right there
Yeah.
late in the game. So,
And defense is key. Like I watched that Ravens game last night, and the Ravens could just put up crazy numbers, but like when they needed a stop, they couldn't do it, right?
yeah.
And and I my heart breaks for them. Like that was a hard game to stop. Like I felt bad because at the time when they were up 15, I was like, I kind of hope that Buffalo scores here to make it exciting. But I regretted instantly saying that. But because it was a good game up to that point. I didn't want to like end up being a blowout or whatever, and it ended up being too good of a game. But and so it's. I think that of the consistency in the Commanders game versus how well Baltimore played for 90% of that game, and then it fell apart in the last 10 minutes, right? So being able to finish, winning time, and be able to make key stops down the stretch, I thought was really key for their victory.
Yeah, it was definitely critical. A lot of good things to take away from this football game, and the other stuff will get cleaned up. I mean, my whole thing was I'm a John Madden guy. If you get your hands on the ball, you got to catch it. And sure, he may have been thrown behind a couple of receivers, but they had the opportunity to catch it. You didn't come down with it. And if you have the ability to get your hands on it, you have the ability to catch it. So I think those things need to be cleaned up. I wasn't too concerned about him being slightly off at all. And sometimes, man, you're not going to get a lot of turnovers on defense if they're bringing the guy down or collapse in the pocket so much until he's got to throw it out, throw it out on the sideline somewhere. So, you definitely want to get turnovers, but they did the next best thing, and that's get the ball out of his hand quickly, make him either dump it down or he's going to run down the sideline and toss it over somebody's head. They made life miserable for him for sure.
I agree. All right, before I let Dujournay go, I know he had such a long day, and I thank you for the time that you're able to give. I do want to get your quick thoughts on this Green Bay matchup. It's on such a short week. Usually Wednesdays are your first like a real hardcore practice. Wednesday's a travel day for them. They got to be there on Thursday, which leads them to basically watching film, having a little rest today, a full practice tomorrow, and then a travel day, and walking through some stuff. But how do you deal with the short rest, playing a really good team in Green Bay, in Lambeau Field? What are some of your thoughts on this matchup?
I just think it's just a matter of, doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as your treatment. Treatment is everything. Taking care of your body is everything. The rest of it is second nature. For them, I don't think this game past was that much of a physical game. I think the defense laid more of the wood than the Giants did. So I think they'll be fine in that area. I know a lot of people are concerned about this game and it being concerned about it being tough. But from what I saw from Green Bay's offense, it's nothing that they do that is absolutely scary to me when it comes down just from the quarterback position of Jordan Love. Sure, they've got a running game and all that. It's a pretty decent committee at wide receiver, but nothing they do is something that I feel like, oh boy, they're really going to catch them off guard there. I just think if the defense comes out and plays with the tenacity that they played with against the Giants, that's getting home, that's making life miserable for Jordan Love, collapsing the pocket down, making sure you're getting hands on the guy, get your hands up and make it difficult, not giving them clean throwing lanes. I think you got a good opportunity. And I understand a lot of people I saw a lot of hype over Micah Parsons, 1 tackle and 1 freaking sack. I mean, that's all fine and good, but I mean that we're throwing a parade because the man had 1 tackle and 1 sack. You know what I mean? And I think what helps guys, the fact they pretty much faced an entire front seven that is like Micah Parsons. They have the ability to disrupt. They got back there at times. They tried to make life miserable, and there were times, and most of the time, it was Jaden Daniels not even running at full speed, running by guys and looking at them like, "Hey, how you doing?" and running to the first down.
He makes it look so effortless. It's
so wild.
Yeah, it just, and then it's like his quick step, that he can get by people and just like slip by them, and it's interesting because it's very different than some of the other running quarterbacks in this league. Like he's very elusive. He looks very thin. Like he doesn't look like a big guy that's gonna bowl you over, but he's smart. He's very cerebral and
very much so.
He finds the angle and does really well. Duchesne, let people know what you're up to this week. I know that you did a post game. I've shared that to the page if anyone wants to check that out. But I know that you'll have a bunch more shows this week and a bunch of racing stuff. But let people know I'm going to do the Duchesne command in chat as well.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. Tomorrow we're gonna have Sports Journey's own Connor Forrest on. We're gonna just talk about the NFL, some of the key moments that we saw on Sunday. We'll talk about the NHRA playoffs that is coming up here next week. It is next week. I don't think it's this week, but we'll be talking about that. We're gonna have Mighty Mac on to talk about that in the second half. You can also catch my work. I cover the Jacksonville Jaguars for Heavy.com along with the AFC South. You can catch a lot of my work there at Heavy.com. Jaguars also have stuff with the Titans, Colts, and Texans as well. Wow. Well, what else do we have? Every Sunday, Sports Journey will be having the post-game live show. We will have a post-game show Thursday night. This week's going to be hell week for me. A lot of stuff going on. So we're going to have the post-game show Thursday night right after the game, usually about 7 to 10 minutes after the game. You can find it on it'll be shared to all of my channels, and you can find that that there. And we'd love to have you guys comment and kind of join the fun there. It's always a good time when we're talking Commanders with Commanders fans. Let's see. I think that's about it, Robbie. I could be leaving some stuff out, but
they could definitely find you on NotBland21 on Twitch, and you can also find it on the YouTube.com/@NotBlandShow. Also find him on Facebook. He does stuff for Sports Journey and all sorts of stuff. And so you said it was Heavy.com, Jacksonville Jaguars, right? So
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I put that link also in chat. And
we revamped, being that I am the director of content now at Sports Journey. We have revamped the site. You can find all the NFL schedules there, all the stuff for Commanders as far as rosters, and any updated news there. You will also find other NFL topics that are also on the website. So we're doing a lot of new stuff with Sports Journey, and of course, me being with Heavy, it's been a lot, but it's a blast. I wouldn't trade it.
I'm so happy for you. It's exciting. Real quickly, I'll get you to give one quick thoughts on the Jaguars, the new look Jaguars. I thought they made a really interesting draft choice. Getting a guy that can go two ways. What were your thoughts on how the new look Jaguars looked in week one?
Very sharp. I really like what Liam Cohen has done with this football team. Just put an article out just not even an hour ago about the fact he talking about toughness, and they preached about toughness and physicality all off season. When they arrived, that was their mantra. That was something they wanted to live by. And for week one, they definitely put that out there on the football field. They were very physical. The defense was very physical and, very disciplined in what they were doing, was able to get some key moments there for them. The offense got off to a little bit of a rocky start early, and that's kind of expected in a new offense. But I like the fact that they got settled in on that drive, was able to turn that into some points. Trevor Lawrence looks like a different person in the first game. Footwork has been impeccable. His decision making was very good, and I said it before in the preseason. Travis Etienne was going to benefit from this offense, and it was really going to be able to allow him to showcase his talents. And you saw that this weekend. I think it was over 140 yards or something like that on 16 carries. He had a 71-yarder, so all good stuff from this football team. We'll see if they can sustain it, but I really do believe Liam Cohen has the ability to lead men, and he is a smart football mind as well. Kind of reminds me of the McVays and who we're watching right now with the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell. So really like what they're doing, and I think Jaguars fans should be excited in a wide open AFC South.
For sure. Yeah, the Bears are up 10-6. They traded some field goals here late at the end of the first half. The second half will start in about 10 minutes. But Dugenais, great stuff as always. I'm excited to learn more about the Jaguars, a team I don't follow quite as much, but now I get to have some cool insight into them throughout this season as well. And just so happy with how week one went. I know it wasn't the best situation. I'm a little bummed still about the Ravens, but overall I was really happy to see what the Commanders were able to put together, and hopefully they can surprise some people and have a good game against Green Bay. But Dugenais, thank you again for all of your time, and we'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good show.
All right, thanks.
Hey, DJ.
Later.
All right. With that, we're going to bring back in Champ and also Sith. We've got live from the basement as well. We also just got a raid here live on Twitch. So welcome in to all the people from the web community. We got Low Base Guy, who is the leader of our community over there that we're a member of on our stream team. So thank you for bringing in your friends as well. He does art and other cool things. Loves creatives of all types, so I appreciate that as well. Sith, I'm going to get your quick takeaway on what was not necessarily a blowout. Like I thought it could be at one point. They sort of New York hung in there, made it a little exciting towards the end. A lot of penalties, interesting calls, but overall, I feel like we weathered the storm and some adversity, and I thought it was a good week one for the Commanders.
Week one overall, people need to understand something though. The starters only had a very limited amount of series in preseason games. So, and that really showed itself yesterday during the game. Live while I was watching it, I was watching the game and I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
Trying to see who was going to be on the practice squad, who was going to be, on our backups. The starters, they had a few reps here and there, but they really didn't get major reps until yesterday. Overall, I think it was a good game. I think people need to calm down saying, oh, Jaden Daniels had a bad game. Come on. It's the first game. Was it a playoff game? No. Yes, it was against the Giants. Giants defense did pretty well, to say the least, to keep us in check. But it's like what Jaden said. It wasn't their best effort. But you learn from your mistakes and move on to the next game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's such a strange situation for me. Like, people find ways to hate on them even in a near perfect situation. Like, I mean, the other team gets paid to play. They're trying to show up and prove that they're not the same Giants they were a year ago. You know, like that defense is good. I hope that they beat the Cowboys this upcoming week. I think, honestly, with what I saw from the Giants defense, like they could cause Cowboys some fits this week. I think there could be an upset in the making there. But Champ, what are some of your takeaways on the Giants? Do you think they were so bad, or do you think that what are your thoughts?
Defensively, the Giants did what they had to do. Bates was a disruptor in there on part of that front seven. He managed to get a couple of sacks on Jaden Daniels. A couple of sacks were Jaden holding on to the ball a little too long and not making decisions at the right time and things like that. But defensively, they weren't that bad. It's just that offensively we were able to take what the defense gave us and was able to take advantage. That first touchdown to Ertz on a nice little tight end angle route, uh, with him being able to get enough separation that Jaden was able to thread it in there for that touchdown. Of course, Bill being able to get the run off the read option and being able to take it in, and then of course the jet sweep that got Debo just basically his own effort getting him into the end zone for the knockout blow and things like that. But defensively, Giants weren't that bad. It's just that this is a offense that was top 10 in scoring last season. So you expect your offense to score when they were top 10 in scoring. So I think that this Giants defense will do some things. I think that game against the Cowboys, the way the Cowboys play offensively against the Eagles, they started off strong, but then they pittered off, allowing the Eagles to take the victory and things like that. But I think that, again, with all 32 teams, this first week, you're not going to see the full complement of offensive performance from all 32 teams. You're going to see maybe a small percentage of that because a lot of these ones didn't have a lot of reps in the preseason, so they got to get into that game shape. But I think by the time you hit week 3, week 4, you're going to start to see a lot of these offenses that have all the potential to be really good to really start to shine. And I think that the Giants defense is going to catch. They caught our offense, though we still was able to put up enough points to win. Cowboys, I mean, they have CeeDee Lamb and they have George Pickens, but I think they'll be able to catch them slipping a little bit. But I think that this defense definitely needs these first 2 weeks against some really top notch offenses to really gain that confidence as the season goes along, because they're going to be facing offenses that are going to be really tough to stop and really tough to deal with. So if they don't have that confidence, they're not going to survive this season. But I think on the other side with the Commanders, need that repetition. Of course, JD and Sari got to get on the same page. It looks like he's already on the same page with Ertz, on the same page with Debo, on the same page with Noah. But it's got to get on the same page with his number one receiver, which is McLaurin. And once he gets on the same page with him, I think it's going to be a very, very interesting time for this Commanders offense. And shout out to the Nationals getting a victory, and a big victory. Jesus.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm scared about this Green Bay game. I've already talked about that. Sith? What are some of your thoughts going into this Green Bay matchup?
I'm a little concerned, but again, it's week 2. I double checked my picks, and apparently I had us winning. Okay. This is one where if we lose, like what I said last week when we were live reacting, doing a little pop-up stream on Thursday, I remember telling you guys and telling everyone that was listening to the pop-up stream, I remember saying, and I'll say it again, if we lose, but we play well, you start to learn from the mistakes of week 1, and we're just outplayed by Green Bay, I'll be okay with it. I'm not going to be hanging my head. But we have to limit penalties because, oh God, those things are kicking us in the butt. Um, excuse me. We need to limit the penalties. We need to get the offense back in sync, which is going to take time. Defense did really, really well. I think when I take a look at what the Giants did yesterday, I agree with Champ. The defense did a pretty good job against our offense. And if you look at what Daniel Jones did, Giants fans have the right to question the offensive staff because
I'm
Jones
curious about how quickly they go to their, rookie. Like how long does this experiment go, or do you go to Dart pretty quickly? And so it'll be interesting to see how that
have
ends.
to wonder that. Um, Russell Wilson, God bless him, he's in the Giants, but he's in a lose-lose situation here because the guy who's your offensive coordinator isn't drawing a playing plays that are going to allow you to succeed, much less the backup rookie. The backup rookie's not going to succeed either with the system. This is reminding me a lot of people are going to hate me for this. Gruden's system, Jay Gruden. Jay's system was adaptable and good for the Arena Football League, but it didn't translate well for 60 minutes to the NFL. We learned pretty quickly that Jay has a good 30-minute game plan, but not a 60-minute game plan, unlike his brother. And that's what separates Jay from John. And the problem with the Giants is they have about a 30-minute game plan where it comes to the offense, and they're expecting the defense to mop everything up. It's just wild.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I did want to pull up some of this past week's games and just chat about them with you guys to see which games that you guys saw in your quick takeaways of some of those. And then we can obviously, when we get Arun back on, we can also continue our conversation about Green Bay going forward in this Thursday game. Let me just do a screen share here real fast, and I think it's this window. And then I do this over here. Actually, sorry, I gotta switch my screens over here. Aha, it's that one. I knew I'd figure it out eventually. And let me just make this a little bit smaller like that. Perfect. All right. So last week we were watching that Eagles Cowboys game live, which was an interesting game. And we're talking about how the offensive explosion happened in that first half, and then there was a extended rain lightning delay. And man, did it slow things down to a grind. There was only a field goal scored, I believe, in the second half. So definitely the scoring dropped off considerably in that matchup. And then the Chiefs and the Chargers. Some people did pick that there was going to be a letdown game for the Chiefs after the Super Bowl, but the Chargers look like it wasn't necessarily the Chiefs were looking bad, but the Chargers look like a real team to be that might come out of that division. Seth, did you check out any of that game?
Saw bits and pieces of it on Red Zone, and this was it put the Chiefs on notice, is what this did, as Nikki Bell is doing a little dance headed to the ring. The Chargers put the Chiefs on notice and said, you've got all the hype, rightfully so, Super Bowl champions. Don't overlook us. Don't sleep on us. Kansas City got a rude awakening with the Chargers, and it's one that they're going to have to learn from.
Yeah. Champ, did you have any thoughts on this matchup?
Well, first and foremost, I actually picked the Chargers to win this in our pick'em.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's number one. Number two, the Chargers not only lost this game, but they also potentially lost one of their receivers for an extended period of time. Xavier Worthy, in a collision with Travis Kelce, suffered a dislocated shoulder, so he's probably going to be out for a little bit. They're trying to get a second opinion on it, but a dislocated shoulder, you're going to be out for an extended period of time, which means that now your offense is going to be centered around Hollywood Brown in terms of the passing games, Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, because Rashee Rice is still out for another 5 games due to that suspension after that hit and run accident he had in the offseason that he played guilty to. So he's going to be out another 5 games. So offensively, that passing attack, because of course Kelsey's going to be involved, but then you got to wonder about your receivers as well. So I think the Chargers were able to take advantage of that. Justin Herbert was able to go out there in Brazil and do his thing. So Kansas City's got some work to do. They're going to be dealing with the AFC West. And to answer Tina's question, it was Xavier Worthy who suffered the dislocated shoulder running into Travis Kelce, the soon-to-be Mr. Taylor Swift, by the way.
Right. I hope that he becomes Mr. Taylor Swift. How awesome would that be if his name was Mr. Swift for like the last year of him being in the NFL and everyone has to rebuy the jerseys? It would be the highest selling jersey, I think, in history. I bet you right now. I honestly believe that it could make him $1 billion.
That's crazy.
Because he also owns an apparel company that's licensed by the NFL. If he put out the official Swift jerseys, you know what I mean? Like, it's like printing money, champ. Anyway. Also, Mr. Swift is a great name for a
Rob,
tight
you
end.
can't convince me otherwide. I'm not trying to hear that shit. I'm not trying to hear that shit.
Travis Swift? That sounds like a great, I don't know.
That sounds like an entitled dude that's going to go into a fast food restaurant and complain and want to talk to the manager, even if he got everything correct on his order. That's what it sounds like to me.
He's going to walk into a McDonald's and, they don't give you all your sauces for your nuggets. He's going to order barbecue sauce. Where's my barbecue sauce? He's going to go full Karen. Watch.
The last time I went, I got extra barbecue sauce right here. So, speaking of the new tangy barbecue sauce from McDonald's. They also have this gold sauce, which is pretty good. Special edition, only for a limited time. Anyway, they don't sponsor. Though, how often I go to McDonald's for my kids, they should.
Me too.
So we got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns in a game that was decided by a single point. The Browns are just impressive in the fact that they kept it close, but they still find a way to lose it. I didn't actually get to watch this game. Sid, did you watch any of it in the red zone?
I saw some of it on Red Zone, and it's typical Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland is in this causality loop of rebuild. Okay. And I think the smartest thing they did, their fans need to do right now, is just remember, y'all need an ownership group like what the Commanders have, where there's actual focus on rebuilding and getting things done. Because Cleveland, they're easily going to be last in that division. I think it'll be Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland. And Cleveland, they're like watching the Giants. Their team is okay, but it's not a team that you're going to look forward to seeing. It's going to be one where people have on their calendars to go, oh, I've got Cleveland this week. Upset alert, we need to play a full game or else they could pull up our sleeves. They'll be the type of team that goes out there and tries to upset people because they're not going to get a lot of wins this year.
Yeah. All right, this the Miami Dolphins game. 8 points.
Miami got curb stomped by Danny Dimes. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, he put up some numbers, 33 points there. Good for him, because I had nothing against him. I had to root against him because he was a Giant, but I love the fact that he could get a redemption story as far away from our division as possible. But Sith, what are your takeaway on this one?
the Dolphins got pounded. And Daniel Jones, he gets a shot at redemption. He gets that shot at redemption. He's going to be able to come out there and prove that, hey, yeah, I was kind of given a bad hand in with the Giants organization. Here, I'm throwing up bombs already. So good on him.
For sure. We got the Patriots and the Raiders. I don't know why I picked the Patriots in this game, but the Raiders ended up winning. I actually didn't watch this game, but they only won it by a touchdown. Champ, did you watch any of this game?
Yeah, like I said, when I was over Carol's, he had Red Zone on, so they had this game on. Geno Smith looked absolutely fantastic as quarterback of the Raiders. Ashton Genty looked like a first-round pick in this one. And the Raiders looked pretty good against an overmatched Patriots team. Though Drake May, second-year quarterback, actually looked fairly decent in this one as well. As you can see by the score, it was a pretty close game. It's just that the Raiders wanted a little bit more than the Patriots did, and that's where we got it here. But again, Geno Smith looked really good here. I think he's going to fit very well as a starting QB there in Vegas. I think Vegas has a pretty decent team. It's crazy though that they're who was going to be a focal point of their offense and Amari Cooper retired just days before this game, and they still went out there and had a pretty good offensive performance in New England.
Couple of quick scoring updates. The Nationals did beat the Miami Marlins 15-7 tonight. Yeah, and then Chicago Bears just scored a touchdown with an extra point. They lead the Vikings 17-6 with 12:51 left in the third quarter in that matchup. Just giving a couple little updates on that. We've talked a lot about this Giants-Commanders game, so I'm going to move on to the Cardinals and the Saints. The Cardinals were able to go into New Orleans and get a win. The Saints have just been kind of dreadful these last couple of years here, only being able to put up 13 points. Dan, what are some of your thoughts on this?
The Saints are an example of how the Marty are falling.
Yeah.
Sad to see, but it's time for them to rebuild.
Yeah. Champ, any thoughts on this one?
Spencer Rattler. Yeah, okay. He's not gonna give your team the best chance to win at all. Kyler Murray looked a bit up and down in this one as well. But again, they were able to do enough to win this one, and that's what you get here. I mean, when you have a quarterback opposite you named Spencer Rattler, I don't expect you to lose. So there you go.
The next one was a really interesting matchup. The NFL
I watched this game from beginning to end. Holy crap.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets. And you've got basically an opportunity for Aaron Rodgers to get immediate vengeance on a Jets team, which I don't know why he ever went to the Jets in the first place. He never was going to turn a franchise like that around. Kind of a dumb move on his part. But, he obviously left on very sour terms with them, and some of his comments post game that he loved getting revenge on everyone who's in the Jets organization, I thought was pretty hilarious. He put up some points though. They only just barely beat the Jets though, 34-32, in an actually pretty close and exciting game in New York. Seth, what were some of your thoughts on this one?
Oh man, I got to tell you. This tells me something about Pittsburgh's defense. It needs a lot of work because you allowed the Jets to get 32 points on you, which makes, of course, your offense do the work to win the game. Ooh, that defense for the Steelers, they got work to do. But I think Aaron Rodgers is a short-term solution at quarterback, not a long-term solution. And the Jets are the fucking Jets.
Yeah, what are some of your takeaways on this one?
Aaron Rodgers went out there and threw 4 touchdown passes against this team. I don't know where the fuck he got that from. We'll never know, but Jesus, 4 touchdown passes against his former team. Meanwhile, Justin Fields, who's also, this is basically a revenge game for him, because remember, he was the backup to Pittsburgh last season behind Russell Wilson and did play for the first 4 games of the season while Russ was dealing with a hamstring injury, and did fairly decent for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he came out and he had himself a really good game. It did come down to one defensive stop on a 4th down and 5 where Fields got his receiver, and the receiver caught it, but Jalen Ramsey, who was a free agency signing for the Steelers, jars the ball free to force a turnover on downs to give Pittsburgh the 2-point victory over the Jets. But I think everybody's more talking about Aaron Rodgers' performance and the 4 touchdowns that he threw over everything else. And that's what came out of this game. And it was funny because Carol's fair lady was rooting against Rodgers. It was fuck Rodgers every chance she got, but it ended up being Rodgers with the victory.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I like her. She's a feisty one, a Carol fan. So
yeah, Christine is definitely I was like they're both very energetic fans. I was like, yeah, y'all definitely are made for each other because y'all both have that energy when it comes to Commanders games.
You couldn't have like a weak fan be with Carol. Like you need somebody who can watch some football.
Facts.
And so this next game though, this Tampa Bay Atlanta game, they had it on after the Commanders game. Holy moly. So, the Buccaneers having an opportunity to go up 4 with an extra point. They miss the extra point. The Atlanta Falcons storm all the way down the field. Looks like they've got this thing, tied up, dead to rights. Misses the field goal. It wasn't even that hard of a field goal, and the Buccaneers escape with a victory in Atlanta. Seth, what were some of your takeaways on this one?
It's a competitive game, but very close one to say the least, because this is where they bounced us after the Commanders-Giants game. And overall, this was a good game, but the NFC South, Tampa, I think, could be an odds-on favorite to win that division, but we'll have to wait and see.
Champ, what is your takeaway on that crazy ending?
Baker Mayfield did not look good in this game. He was very inaccurate. He just got lucky that his rookie wide receiver bailed him out, especially with that game go-ahead touchdown late in the fourth quarter to Emeka. That was a beautiful dime to him, and only where Emeka could get to it, and he was able to catch it with the defender draped on him to take the lead. And then, of course, Young Wei Koo sold it. He absolutely sold by missing that field goal that he normally makes. Koo is actually, in the last couple of years, has been one of the more accurate place kickers in the NFL. But right there in the clutch was unable to come in clutch to tie the game, and Tampa Bay was able to escape. But this was not a pretty game for the Bucs by any stretch of the imagination, especially with Baker Mayfield. So they got a lot to clean up if they're going to be the favorites to win the NFC South.
Yeah, we got the Bears having a big defensive stand there and getting the ball back. The Vikings had to kick it off. The Vikings are not looking good in this game. They cannot get their offense going in any way. But a penalty here against the Bears, but they still will retain the ball. But interesting matchup. I thought this game would be a little bit closer, but Minnesota has a lot of work to be done. And the Bears, I think, could be a sleeper team. They played us really well with that Hail Mary. We beat them, and we'll have to face them again. But they seem to be jiving with their new head coach, and he's doing a lot of things right with Caleb. And be interesting to see how he does in this second season. We already talked a lot about the Jaguars and the Panthers game, or at least we had Dujournay talk about the new Jacksonville Jaguars and their new look, and I thought they looked really good. I mean, I think the Panthers are going to be terrible again. But Seth, what is your takeaway on the Jags?
Our guy Paul from Charlotte, God, he's probably very thankful he's on our side and not the Panthers side, because holy shit. This was not a good game for Carolina at all. And this new look for the Jags, I'm on board for it.
Yeah. Champ, what are your thoughts?
Carolina was already looking not too good in this game. Then they had a lengthy weather delay, and I think it didn't help them at all. And it ended up being more of a blowout than it should have been. And that's just all there is to it. Carolina is not going to be a good team this year. I would be surprised if they win 4 games this year with the way they played this year.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we got the Titans and the Broncos. I think Denver will be pretty good this year. It's a tough place to play, but just an interesting score, 20-12. Seth, do you have any takeaways on this game?
Denver and the Chargers are going to fight it out for second. And the Chiefs, I still think, win that division, the AFC West. But what we saw here was a Denver team that's on the grow, and what we saw from Tennessee is yet another team that, for better or worse, just isn't going to be all that good.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Cam Ward looked okay in this one, but I think what killed him was, especially late in the game in that fourth quarter, a couple of really quick critical drops by his receivers, including Calvin Ridley, who's one of the more sure-handed wide receivers in the league. I think that if they make a couple of those catches, they could probably make this into a game where they could potentially tie it and take it to overtime. But unfortunately, they had a case of the dropsies, and that ended up costing them this game. I think Tennessee might not be as bad of a team as many people think, but we'll have to see. But this one, I think they could have had a chance if it wasn't for the fact that his receivers had cases of butterfingers in this one.
Yeah. Next matchup, San Francisco, the Seahawks. San Francisco kind of escaped with this victory here. Um, the Seahawks don't even look that good. I think the 49ers also didn't look as impressive as I thought that they were going to. Seth, what were your takeaway on these two teams?
One of my best friends from high school is like a sister to me. She's a big 49ers fan, and she messaged me after the game. She's like, bruh, th- this was too close. And I was like, yeah, too close for comfort. Um, I think that San Francisco's got a lot of work to do, but Seattle only losing by 4 is a moral victory. Seattle is not that good of a team, but give another year or two, they'll be back within the fight, I think.
So Arun just rated in, so he'll be joining us in just a second live on air, and we'll see his takeaway on some of these different topics as well. We're gonna just keep going here with as we're almost done with it. We got the Lions and the Packers. The Packers look pretty good. The Lions, I think, might struggle with losing some of their coach and some of the gusto that they had. I think. The Commanders really knocked the wind out of the Lions' sails last year, and I don't know if the Lions will be able to recover and be that same team that we saw the last 2 years. But Dan, what are some of your takeaways on that?
My takeaways for the Packers Lions game, very simple. Packers, I think, will take the division. Detroit, another team that a couple of years ago appeared to be firing on all cylinders, but yesterday they lost a. The irony is that you had so many divisional games this weekend to start off the season that already, for example, Green Bay, they've got a big tiebreaker against Detroit. We've got a big one against the Giants. The Eagles have a big one against Dallas. When you have all these divisional games to start off the season, it throws in some very intriguing matchups. But the Packers did what they did. They defended home field. They looked really good on offense. Defense held Detroit to 13. Good stuff.
We got the Rams and the Texans. Interesting matchup for sure. The Rams were able to hold on for a 14-9 win over the Texans. Champ, do you have any thoughts on this matchup?
Not really. I didn't really catch this game much. It's just again, Texans. One thing about the Texans over the last couple of years is that they can run hot and cold, and I think here they were running a little bit cold, only 9 points against the Rams. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to bounce back from this one. The Rams only 14 points, so not much to really say offensively in this one as well. So they're definitely going to have to clean some things up if they're going to be competitive in the NFC West with San Francisco, with Arizona, and with Seattle. If they're going to be once again the top dogs in the West and make the playoffs again, definitely going to have to get that offense going. Stafford and company going to have to get that offense going.
Yeah, Arun says 9 points by the Texans is disappointing for them, but the Rams defense has improved. And Arun, just let me know, are you going to jump on the Zoom or not? I mean, it's fine if you want to just talk in chat, but just let me know. I just wanted to make sure. And but I agree. It'll be an interesting matchup. And the last game of this week is the Bills and the Ravens, which, man, I love this game. It was a close game. The Ravens offense was going on all cylinders, and their run game looked so dangerous, and their defense just let them down again late game. And it's just, man, I feel for Ravens fans because I feel like the Ravens are a much better team than the Commanders, right? Between the two of them, just on paper. But, like, the Ravens do this a lot where they play well for a lot of the game and then they just fall apart at the end. And I got to give the Commanders credit that they seem to do the opposite. They're better at winning time or coming back and in clutch times, even if they make some miscues early on. But oof, that was a hard watch. Because you have somebody, a running back with having a game like he was, and just Derrick Henry, I think, is one of my favorite running backs in the league, and just able to put up over 175 yards, I want to say, and some touchdowns and breaking records, and now top 5 all time in rushing touchdowns, and it's just some impressive stuff. But then the fumble in the moment that you need him the most to be like put it away, and they lose the game because of it. And I hate to be that guy, and I don't want to put it all on that, but like after letting them score, like giving them the ball on the 30-yard line, that's just brutal. I think it's hard to do anything with that. Sith, what were some of your takeaways on that?
Feel sorry for Tim.
Yeah, I do too.
Our guy Tim was gutted about this, and I don't blame him because you have it in the palm of your hands, and the defense just shit the bed. It reminded me of a Monday Night Football game back in 2000. It was the Jets and the Dolphins, and they were playing at Giant Stadium, and the Jets were out of it, completely out of it. Dennis Miller's out here throwing out references to movies and whatnot. I'm having a ball watching it. I'm living in the West Coast at the time, and I was getting ready for work, and I was watching the game while getting ready for work. And I remember the Jets were completely out of it. People were walking out of Giant Stadium and like, all right, we've seen enough. The Giants came back and beat the Dolphins. They scored like 21 points in the last 7 minutes. And what happened with Buffalo is very simple. Buffalo's defense, which is usually on point, it just flatlined, unfortunately.
Until the end when they needed it to. And then they made the play at the moment. I felt like Baltimore just kept on letting them hang around. And it was just so funny to watch all the Buffalo fans leave. Thousands of Buffalo fans left that game thinking it was over. My dad turned it off. Like, I know a lot of people who did, thinking, oh, this game is won. It's late at night, 15-point game. This is the revenge game for the Ravens. They're not going to, let up at the end there. But it was pretty brutal. Arun has joined us live now in video and audio form. Arun, what are some of your takeaways on this last game of the day yesterday?
The Ravens were a little bit unlucky with that tip pass, but they also played a little bit scared running the ball, I believe, on the first 2 downs of one of the drives. And then the key Derrick Henry fumble was pretty unfortunate for them, and they simply just lost momentum, and it seemed like PTSD from the playoff loss that they had last year or last season.
Yeah. God, it's just sometimes teams have your number, and it's just it's just really hard to shake that. I don't know. Champ, any thoughts on this?
The late great coach Denny Green said it best after Arizona had a similar collapse to the Chicago Bears on Monday night. They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. That's something Harbaugh is going to be saying right now about Buffalo. They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. And they sure enough let Buffalo off the hook with Josh Allen. Josh Allen showing why this Buffalo team has been the best in the AFC East after Tom Brady left New England and went to Tampa Bay. Why Buffalo has been dominating the AFC East for the last several years is because Josh Allen knows how to go out there and win football games. Baltimore let up a little too much, and because of that, they went from having a 15-point dominating victory on the road to a 1-point loss on the road.
There was an extra point missed that ends up becoming huge. Because then the field goal would have just tied it. Yeah, it sucks when you don't have the sure thing in the kicking game anymore, right? For a long time, they never missed extra points, right? And it was
they had Justin Tucker, but Justin Tucker wanted to be a dirty ass man, and now he's not in the league right now.
So yeah, it's pretty.
He could be in the XFL maybe next year.
Yeah, that'd be funny. I would see teams picking him up for the gimmick, but anyway, we're gonna switch gears and talk a little bit of week 2. I do want to get Arun's thoughts on the Giants game versus Washington real quickly, as then we take a look going forward, us playing the Packers. But Arun, what were some of your takeaways from the big week 1 win for the Commanders?
The Giants' offensive line was pretty bad, and I don't even think if they even had Tom Brady back there, they still probably would have lost. They were just getting pressure up the middle. Russell Wilson was pretty bad. The running game was ineffective, and our run defense was very good. Kinlaw was the highest grade defensive player. He signed a huge contract this offseason. A lot of people said he was overpaid, but he lived up to it, at least in week 1. And I think going forward, Washington's run game using misdirection from Bill, Debo, Austin Eckler seemed to replace Brian Robinson pretty well, who averaged only, I believe, less than 3 yards a carry the second half of the season. So I think Washington looked a lot better. Their corners did a good job slowing down Malik Neighbors. Lattimore wasn't there last time around, and St. Just is no longer on the team. So the Washington did a good job limiting them. And Russell Wilson did beat the Commanders last year with the Steelers. So it's not just Russell Wilson. And he also, I think he threw a Hail Mary TD with the Broncos also 2 years ago when the Commanders played, but they ended up missing the 2-point conversion. So maybe Russell Wilson is washed up, but I think it's just more that the Giants they don't have any secondary options other than Neighbors, and their running game is pretty bad. At least it was yesterday with Tracy.
Yeah, I was looking at B-Rob's stats for that San Francisco game. He put up 9 rushes for 33 yards, so it's not a horrible average at 3.7, as long as 9, no touchdowns, but no fumbles or fumbles lost. But it was okay. But I like what I saw with our committee running back situation. Versus what
Bill had his longest yard run was longer than Brian Robinson's rushing total yesterday, and Robinson never had a rushing high as Krosky Merritt in his entire career in Washington.
Yeah, I still don't think he was fit the system. I know that we wanted to get him to be the guy. His story, was great. That he was able to make it back into the league and all that sort of stuff. And but I just think overall, it just didn't really fit the system that we were constructing there. What are your quick thoughts on Green Bay as a team to face in this week, Arun?
Well, we get to play Micah Parsons, although we don't. At least Washington doesn't play them twice a year. The good thing is that every team that played the Lions last year, the following week they lost, but it's still a short week and it's a Thursday night game, and I thought the Packers would beat the Lions just basically because they have like two new coordinators, and maybe they'll be less like if they had lost the Lions, it might be harder for Washington to come away with the win. But I think it's slightly favoring the Packers on this short week. But I'm giving serious thought that Washington could actually win this game, and I didn't really think that because I forgot about that Lions fact, and also I just think Washington's offense looked really good, and I think there's room for improvement, especially Terry McLaurin. They missed him on a deep ball, and I thought that was a catch, but they ruled it incomplete. So I think he's probably wants to prove that he's worth that contract that he got in week 2.
For sure. Champ, what are some of your takeaways on this matchup for Thursday Night Football?
It's going to be tough because again, it's they have to travel on a short week, taking on a Green Bay team that definitely has some momentum, defeating a division foe in opening week 1. As I mentioned, Jaden Daniels, this was the first game where he actually threw more passes than he did in the preseason. He only had one series in the preseason, and he didn't throw the ball in that one time. He ended up with a rushing touchdown, and it was a lot of rushing in that one. So he's definitely got to get himself together in terms of throwing the football. A lot of passes were behind receivers. Some of them were able to make catches. Some were not. At least he didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't have any turnovers. So I think defensively, this team looked really strong, and I think they'll be able to do so against Jordan Love and that Packers offense. It's going to be a tough matchup. I believe I did pick them to lose this one, the Commanders, but I would love to be wrong on this one, and maybe I might be wrong. We'll see.
Seth, what are some of your thoughts?
It's going to be a very tough game. Right now, when I look at the percentage odds, it is a complete toss up. We're only down 51 49, so we're only down by 2%. Where it comes to picks on ESPN, I picked us to win. I'm going back and forth on it though. I picked us to win. Woke up this morning, thought Green Bay. And the only reason why I could think that Green Bay would win is the short travel week because you had a full day of you had video, you had film and some, working out today, full day of practice tomorrow, then travel day tomorrow to get ready for Thursday night football. So right now, I think it's a complete toss-up. I would not be surprised if we pull off a shocker upset, if you will, at Green Bay over in Lambeau. The thing about Lambeau, you have that 12th man. That crowd is always raucous, always there, always present. There is that 12th man that is very much there. So it's going to be a tough game. I think that you have to work out some of the issues from week 1 against the Giants to get better to go up against Green Bay. Should be a close game. But as I said, if we lose, it's close. If we lose in a close game and we limit the penalties and we start to limit the mistakes more, I'll be happy.
For sure. All right, we're gonna do like a speed round, go through these games pretty quickly. But I did want to get some thoughts from you guys on them. I may not go to all three of you for each game, just for trying to keep this under 2-hour podcast. But we got the Jaguars versus the Cincinnati Bengals. People seem to be favoring Cincinnati at home. I did like the new look Jacksonville team. Seth, what is your takeaway on this one?
I'm going with the Bengals at home. Should be a pretty good game, though. But I do like the new look Jags. They're good.
Champ, what is your takeaway on the Bengals versus Jaguars?
Bengals again. They had a tough one against Cleveland. Old man Flacco looked really good until towards the end. And with the Jaguars looking the way that they do, especially defensively, this is going to be a tough one. But I would say Cincinnati has a slight edge. They have some very talented wide receivers in Higgins and Chase, and I think they're going to be the difference in this one.
Yeah. Arun, what are some of your takeaways?
I'm going to go Jacksonville. Why not? Just because the Bengals win over the Browns was so meager.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm torn about this one too. I'm surprised that only 9% people picking the Jaguars. I think that they could definitely shock some people. And I don't necessarily really believe in Cincinnati, but I'm giving them the edge just because it's a home game. The next one is the Cowboys versus the Giants. I don't know why. I kind of want to pick the Giants. It's hard for me to do that. But I don't know. There's something about the Giants defense that I thought was actually fairly impressive and I think could give the Cowboys some fits. I'll start with Arun with this one. What are some of your takeaways?
Yeah, it's a little bit tough because the Cowboys running game is not great, but I'm still gonna go with the Cowboys just because the Giants have a shorter week. The Cowboys did play last Thursday, and I think Dak and the receivers did look good together.
Yeah. Seth, what are some of your takeaways?
God, a part of me wants to go with the Giants just because Dallas is in complete disarray right now. Um, but the flip side of the coin is you got two teams that are going to finish well below 500 for the year. Right now, I'm going with Dallas at home, but this is going to be a game that I'm going to call a sleep aid. You want to go to sleep or take an afternoon nap? Watch this game.
Champ, what are your thoughts on this one?
I give the slight edge to Dallas only because of CD Lamb and George Pickens. Pickens already showed that he is going to be a difference maker for Dallas moving forward. So I give the slight edge to Dallas, but I would not be surprised if the Giants' defensive front gives Dak Prescott a lot of fits, and that doesn't give him a lot of time to look for guys like Pickens or CD Lamb and be able to really make something happen.
All right, we got the next one. We got the Bears versus the Lions. I think this is a pretty easy one for the Lions. They need to have a bounce back game. But Sith, what are some of your takeaways?
Bounce back game for the Lions. They win at home.
And Arun?
Uh, I will say Lions, but I'm gonna have to look at the Bears pretty closely because they're taking the Vikings to the shed right now. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Lions as well, but I mean, way Chicago's playing against Minnesota. I'm not watching, but from what y'all are talking about, it seems like the Bears is going to be. It's not going to be an easy out for. They're not going to be an easy out, but I think the Lions are going to bounce back and get a victory on this one.
I agree. There's a question of whether he was able to throw it away here or if it was Caleb was trying to throw the ball away, but they were trying to say whether or not his knee touched the ground first. And then there's a flag, so it was an intentional grounding, possibly. I missed that part, but there's 5 seconds left in the third, and the Bears are up 17-6 right now. Um, but um, but yeah, I don't know. I definitely the Bears have been playing pretty well against Minnesota, but I think the Lions will have to get the win at home. For sure in that one. Arun, you're talking about the defense of the Rams. It looked pretty good. The Titans seem to be sputtering. But we'll start with you, Sith. What are your takeaways for this matchup?
The Rams are going to go into Tennessee and literally just toss them on the shoulders like an empty beer can. Rams beat the Titans.
Yeah, Champ, do you agree?
No, I think Cam Ward's gonna get some continuity with his receivers. They're gonna actually start catching passes. I'm calling Tennessee in an upset.
All right. There you go. You got a classic rivalry here, the Patriots and the Dolphins. Man, both these teams kind of sucked in week one. It's kind of hard to pick. I don't know. I'm picking the Dolphins just because it's the home one. But Seth, what are your thoughts?
I'm taking the Dolphins at home. They are better on paper than the Patriots are. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think their quarterback needs to get a get right game. I think that he's a much better quarterback than what was seen on the last one. But we'll we'll see there. Champ, what is your takeaway on this one?
I'm giving the Dolphins a slight edge on this one, even though they got curb stomped by Indy in week 1. I think they bounce back. I think Tyreek Hill will bounce back. I think that Achane will start running a lot better, and I think Miami will take this one at home.
I think, Arun, you got your OBS camera on instead of your normal camera.
Oh, okay. I don't know why. I closed OBS, but
Yeah. I think if you click on the drop down in the Zoom, you can swap which
okay.
camera you're using. There you go.
There we go. All right.
Um,
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins just because it's a home game, and the Dolphins even beat the Patriots at home when they were the gap was much bigger in talent.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I got 49ers and Saints. I think this is a pretty easy one. The Saints have looked pretty abysmal in the last game, and the 49ers have so much room for growth compared to what I saw in their first game. Arun, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I believe the Saints game was closer. Or no, I don't know. The Saints lost to the Cardinals, but I think the 49ers are just going to roll over the Saints.
Yeah, Champ?
Brock Purdy is a lot of question marks around him, but I think that he will get the ship right here and get the W here over the Saints. I mean, again, you have a quarterback named Spencer Rattler. I don't think he's going to light the world on fire, honestly. So I'm gonna go 49ers on this one.
Seth, you agree?
I'm going with Sand Rain here. They look to be a team that's starting to fire on all cylinders. In week 1, the Saints abysmal.
Yeah. All right. The next one I think is maybe the easiest pick of the week. The Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. If the Bills can come back against the Ravens, the Jets have no chance in this one, in my opinion. Seth, what are your thoughts? Oh, Seth?
I think he's frozen.
I think he froze.
Yeah, I'm going with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Champ, what is your takeaway?
I don't think it's going to be as easy as y'all think, especially the way the Jets played against Pittsburgh in week 1. Justin Fields absolutely looked like a top-tier quarterback against the Steeler defense that is historically one of the more tougher defenses to face. And he was able to put up some really good numbers and things like that. So I don't think it's going to be as easy as y'all think. I'm going with Buffalo, but again, it's not going to be an easy one for Buffalo. This is going to be a tough one for them. I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout because that connection between Fields and Garrett Wilson looks to be very, very solid.
And the Bills' defense looked terrible again. I mean, like they showed up at the end, but like for most of the game, they could not figure out how to stop the Ravens. So we this game right now is 17-6 right now. The Bears are winning, but Minnesota's on the move, and you kind of have this feeling that this game reminds. Oh wow! And he's going to break it big time here. Gets down to the 34-yard line. First down for Minnesota. They score a touchdown here. It's 13-17 game. Maybe even go for 2. It's a 3-point game. It's. It'll be interesting to see how this drive goes here and the impact it has on this game. Arun, what are your thoughts on the Bills and Jets?
Last year, the Jets only lost by 3 points. Is Justin Fields enough of an upgrade over Aaron Rodgers? I'm still going with Buffalo.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, I thought, were very disappointing last week, and the Pittsburgh Steelers actually kind of impressed me a little bit with this new look, and they'll be at home in Pittsburgh. Arun, what are your thoughts on this one?
Nope. Pittsburgh was a little impressive. They only beat the Jets by 2, but I think just going from west to east, Pittsburgh should win.
Yeah, Champ?
I'm also going with Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers looked absolutely amazing in that game with 4 touchdown passes. I think he'll be pretty sharp in this one. I'm going with Pittsburgh on this one.
And Seth?
I'm going Pittsburgh. Seahawks. Oh boy. Several years ago, they were on top. Now they are in a causality loop of a rebuild.
All right, we got Browns and Ravens. I think this is it's in Baltimore. It's their home opener. I think that they're gonna. I know that the Browns often play them pretty tight. It's a divisional game. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like when the Giants play the Commanders, but the Ravens have to win this to make get back to 500, and so I think they're going to come back pretty angry based on what happened at the end of that game. Seth, what is your takeaway?
Based on the end of that game, Baltimore is going to study that. They probably had the most miserable study tape in quite some time in Baltimore after that game. So I expect them to take the Browns and just beat the piss out of them.
Yeah,
Ravens win.
I agree that the Ravens win, but they're not going to beat the piss out of them. Flacco comes back to Baltimore and plays very sharp. Ravens will win it, but it won't be a blowout. It's going to be very close.
Arun, what's your takeaway?
Just the Joe Flacco Lamar matchup should be just pretty exciting. So like the former QB who took his job and stuff like that. But I guess I have Baltimore, but it would be I'm not ruling out a Cleveland win actually, which is kind of shocking because they only lost to the Bengals by 1 point, and I thought the Bengals were going to trounce the Browns, and maybe their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, this next matchup is really interesting. The Broncos, who seem to do much better at home against an Indianapolis Colts team, which are surprising some people with Danny Dimes there. We'll start off with you, Arun. What is your takeaway on this one?
Yeah, I think I think Denver. I'm taking Denver in this one. Even though the Colts looked impressive, that just might say more about Miami at this point of the season. And I think even though Denver didn't exactly blow out the Titans, I think they should get a close win in Indianapolis.
Yep. Champ, what do you think?
I picked the Colts. I think Danny Dimes is clearly showing that the system that he was in New York just wasn't a fit for him. I think this is a better fit for him, this system in Indy. Denver has a really good defense, but I think that Daniel Jones is going to find ways to exploit it. They have a really good run game with Taylor back there. I think they win this one.
We've got some interesting things going on in this football game that's live. We've got a hands to the face call. Yeah. Wow. It looked like both of their hands were to the face, um, but then they threw the touchdown, right? So did he end up catching the ball anyway? Yeah, so it is a touchdown. So they're going for 2 point conversion now. It's 12-17. So there's 12-13 left in the fourth here. It's an important 2 point conversion because it can bring it to either a 3 point game or right now it's a 5 point game. So we'll see here. The handoff, and he does not make it. He tried to go to the other side, but the Bears defense, that's a big stand right there to make it a 5 point game. Here's the touchdown again. So big touchdown, to make it a 5 point game and still make it a one possession game. But we'll see if that 2 point conversion there or lack of ends up being big. So again, 12-13 left in the fourth quarter here. We'll see what the Bears can do with that. We're just going to keep going on here. The Cardinals and the Panthers. I think the Cardinals will beat the Panthers, especially at home. Seth, what is your thoughts on this?
Got the Cardinals winning at home against the Panthers. I've got the Colts winning against Denver as well. I think these two teams are going to win at home this weekend. The Cardinals got handed a gift in week 2. It's called the Carolina Panthers. But Arizona can't allow Carolina to be competitive. They allow Carolina to be competitive. That could be a bit of a warning sign there. So Arizona should win this though.
Champ, what are your thoughts on these games?
I got Arizona winning this one. Carolina is just not a very good team on paper, though I know that football is played on the field and not on paper, but I got to go with Arizona on this one.
Yeah, and Arizona historically has been much better at home. Arun, do you agree? Arizona?
Yeah, I agree. Unless Kyler Murray's is playing too many video games, I got Arizona.
Get off Warzone, Kyler. Play football.
We got a rematch of the Super Bowl in week 2. Got Philadelphia going to Kansas City in the rematch. I think I got the Eagles even in Kansas City for this one. But I'll start off with Arun. What do you got in the rematch?
Kansas City has to win this game, but I'm defensively now just going to pick the Eagles because I want Kansas City to win, and I just preparing for the worst outcome.
Yeah, there you go. No, I'm all about hedging bets. Champ, Champ, what is your takeaway?
And the home of the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes and company bounce back. They won't have Xavier Worthy, but I think that Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, along with Pacheco and Kelsey, I think they're going to get a bounce back win over the Eagles. The Eagles need a bit of humbling coming out of this one.
Seth, what's your takeaway?
Feels that humble Kansas City gets a much needed win at home for their home opener. And here's a stat for y'all: most teams that start off 0-2 don't make the postseason. So this is all of a sudden an urgent game for Kansas City. I've got them winning.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Eagles just because I want to jinx them, but I 100% think that Kansas City can win this game. All right, we got the Falcons and the Vikings. The Vikings, I don't know. These teams kind of both suck. The Vikings just not impressive in this one. I mean, I know they have a chance to come back here. Let's see here. The Bears on the return. Ooh, what a tackle by special teams right there. But yeah, I don't. Oh, God, this is a tough one. I think the Vikings, just because they're home, that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. But Seth, both these teams are not that great.
Neither team is really all that good, but I'm going with Minnesota at home. Oof, this is your Sunday night game.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to find wrestling to watch.
yeah. I don't know if I'll watch this game either. Champ, this is a pretty bad Sunday night matchup.
Why do I have to pick this one? Why? Like, who did I piss off in a past life that I have to pick this game?
Yeah.
I'm picking Atlanta because Michael Penix Jr. looked really good in the loss to Tampa Bay on week 1, and I think he's going to look even better. And I think that Bijan Robinson definitely knows how to make plays and get missed tackles. And I think that the way that Minnesota is playing in this game, that's going to be a big benefit for them. So I'm picking Atlanta to win this one.
I'm trying to find it if I can find this meme. Probably not fast enough. There was oh, here it is. I just found it. What? Hold on. Can I share this fast enough? Oh my God. So funny. This meme cracked me up. Let's see if this works. Can you guys see this?
All right. Okay, dude.
He is pretty impressive. Oh, this might be at that, but I thought this was one of my favorite memes of last week. Yeah, he is a difference maker and could be a difference maker in this game for sure. But I still think I have the Vikings at home. Arun?
I just think it's interesting that both the quarterbacks like essentially replace Kirk Cousins like in some way. So
Give
we were all
up,
thinking
Kirk.
it, but I'm happy that Arun said it. Yeah. Is Cousins retired now? Where is he?
I think he's still on the Falcons, but I'm not
Oh,
sure.
he's still on the Falcons, but he's just like paying him that crazy money for the backup position?
Yeah, unless he retired that I wasn't aware of, but
Oh, now I kind of want to look it up. Oh
the
my
Steelers
God.
are rumored to get him if if Aaron Rodgers came back and said, "Oh, I don't want to play anymore" or whatever, but I think they just ended up keeping him.
Yeah, they haven't. But 2 days ago, this place is saying there's a rumor that the Falcons want to trade Cousins to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is hilarious. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, they still have him, and no one wants to get that contract out from under them. So that was a rough move by Atlanta. But that was a stupid decision to get him and then draft a quarterback like that. They kind of deserve that salary cap help. All right. So the Monday night game that we'll be watching live next week, Buccaneers versus the Texans. I know. I do think the Buccaneers look better and the Texans look worse this season than last season. Arun, do you see it that way?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, for missed field goal from the Falcons, sending that game to overtime, Atlanta winning, and then we're having a completely different feeling about the Bucks. And I don't know, just because the Texans were disappointing, I'm slightly favoring Tampa, but it wouldn't really shock me if the Texans won either, because they're playing at home.
Yeah, I do think the home thing has a definite advantage. Champ, do you have a feeling one way or the other?
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay here. I think Baker Mayfield turns it around after how week one went. He was so inaccurate, yet he still managed to get that game-winning touchdown late in the game. I think he's going to be much better. I think he has a very talented running back in Emeka. I think they'll turn it around. So I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
So we'll be able to talk about the end of this game, but also the beginning of a second game next week. This is a new thing that they've done the last couple of seasons, where they do 2 games in the second Monday of the season. We got Chargers and Raiders in game 2. I think the Chargers look a lot better than the Raiders. I know this game is in Vegas, but Sith, what is your takeaway on this?
Singer used to say he loves LA. I love LA over Las Vegas this weekend, Monday night. And I've got Tampa Bay on the road. So I've got on Monday Night Football, I've got both road teams winning. I've got the Bucks beating the Texans. I've got the Chargers beating the Raiders.
Nice. Champ, what is your takeaway on this Monday Night Football?
I'm going to go with the Chargers as well, but I think the Raiders are going to make this a very difficult one. Like I said, Geno Smith looked really good in that season opener. So I think that it's going to be another situation where Geno's going to look pretty decent in this one. But I think that Justin Herbert's going to outplay them, and he's going to get the W.
Got it. Arun, your thoughts on the second Monday Night Football game?
We're getting Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh all over again in the division game. I'm going to favor the home team in this one, Pete Carroll, if Bowers makes his healthy return.
All right. Well, there you go. Those are the picks for this week 2. Arun, I'm going to let you give your final thoughts, and then we're going to talk a little wrestling with Sith and Champ, and I'll let Arun give his final takeaway before we let him go. Arun, anything you want to shout out? I saw that you were streaming right before us, doing some video games, and so thank you for rating in and being a part of the show. But anything else you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, if the Giants want to try out another quarterback, we know who's available. I'm waiting. Fired from ESPN. He's waiting for the phone call. And he'll be ready to play week 2. And he did lose to Russell Wilson in the playoffs. He's willing to try to beat him out one more time.
There you go. Arun, love your commentary as always. Definitely go check out. Arun has picks every week as well that he does. So you can check that out. In addition to that, you can find all the links on his Facebook. He also posts on Twitter, and he's got a Twitch, and then he has the Hey Arun podcast as well. So, Arun, thank you again. This is 10 seasons of following the Commanders, Washington football team, Redskins, whatever you want to call them this week. I appreciate you for being a part of this pick'em as well, and we'll definitely talk to you soon.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
We got sure, now you want to remember the football team. So welcome on in, Eric. So it's nice to have you joining us over on Facebook as well. We are I'm going to stop the screen share here. We're going to switch over to main window. And I'm going to let Sith and Champ talk a little no spots. And I know that they've got a big week coming up. Champ is coming over here. He's going to be live in the man cave. We're going to be doing some test streams tomorrow. So if you see him going live over on his channel, you'll know that it's him and I building out a whole new awesome setup. We're very excited about it. So definitely. But there's been some exciting wrestling news in the last week with the return of a famous woman wrestler on SmackDown, and then she cut some promos tonight that Sith was talking about as well. But Champ, let people know what the latest is in the wrestling.
Yes, so AJ Lee, who was one of the most decorated female professional wrestlers during the tail end of the PG era, she had left the WWE in 2015 after her then boyfriend, now husband, CM Punk, had an acrimonious release from WWE. She has now come back. She signed a new contract prior to making her return on SmackDown in Chicago to a huge, thunderous ovation. It was considered the worst kept secret in wrestling, yet you couldn't tell by the reaction of the crowd. They absolutely ate it up, and now it was actually made official on Raw tonight that it will be AJ Lee and CM Punk taking on Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch in a mixed tag match at WrestlePalooza coming up on September the 20th. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. And also goings on in wrestling, we got Worlds Collide coming up this coming Friday night. Once again, WWE and AAA going to be working together. The big marquee matchup is current Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio challenging El Hijo del Vikingo for the AAA Mega Championship. Mysterio almost won that championship in a fatal four-way at Triple Mania last month, but unfortunately, he had ran into someone named AJ Styles to stop that from happening. Vikingo was able to retain, but now it's going to be one-on-one between Mysterio and Vikingo for that championship. Also, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar has been made official for WrestlePalooza. It was also announced this week all of the remaining appearances for John Cena, and what shocked a lot of people was that his last match will not be in Boston. It will be most likely in December, and it was announced that it was going to be here in DC for Saturday night's main event, Touchdown Minnesota.
Wow, 27-yard touchdown reception as they march down the field. And man, this game is giving me shades of last night's game. Just where like Minnesota seemed down and out for almost this entire game. But that was a great spiral on that throw and back shoulder right.
That was a dot to the running back, by the way. That wasn't even a receiver. That was Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah.
Dot. And he just gets right in for the touchdown. Man, Minnesota's brought this one back.
They're going for 2 here to make it a 3-point game. Let's see if they
can. I'm a little bit miffed that it was Aaron Jones because I'm facing somebody that has Aaron Jones on their team. So I think I just lost for this week. But it is week 1, so I'm looking at the long haul here.
All right, 2-point conversion is good, taking a field goal lead here, 20-17. So 9:46 left in the fourth. So it's definitely a lot of game time action left, so people should check that out after the podcast. It looks like it'll be a good ending. Sith, what are some of your takeaways on some of these announcements and all this wrestling news?
Reminds me, Champ and I announced that on September the 20th, we're doing not one but 2 streams at it. That day we'll do an afternoon stream of AEW All Out, and then that night we will do WrestlePalooza as well. So we will be watching Cena Brock, who came up together in OVW, WWE Developmental together. So this is another one of these matches where you've got people that have known each other for 20 plus years. They're going back into the ring one more time. Love that AJ came back. She's going to be a nice little shot in the arm, if you will, to the women's division on Raw. By the way, she is signed to a full-time deal, and she is a part of the Raw roster with her husband because WWE tries to keep couples together for the most part as much as they can. And if people would listen to episode 299 of the No Spots podcast, which will be probably on our audio platforms tomorrow, very good week in wrestling overall. We covered a very intense thing with Roger Jackson. His dad, Rampage Jackson, tried to bail him out with victim blaming. And that Champion had some really solid takes on that. And overall, for the week of wrestling, though, was really good. And what we're going to do, and of course, you've got AAA and WWE working together with Worlds Collide Friday night champ and our good friend Hector. They'll be like reacting to that on what I call the trifecta, which is Twitch, Facebook, Kick. And overall, though, when you look at everything that's happened in pro wrestling this week, it's been a good week. I've really enjoyed it. And I just got done watching Raw, and Raw was a really good show.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to definitely go back and check that out. So, Champ, I know that last week we weren't quite sure which day episode 300 was going to air. Do we now know which one it is?
Yes. So typically we would do a podcast before a PLE so that we could preview it, but we talked about it during 299. 300 will be next Sunday after Worlds Collide. You'll get our predictions on our Facebook page, but we will recap Worlds Collide. So episode 300, which will see the new revamped streaming setup, will be revealed next Sunday on Twitch, on Kick, and on Twitch and Kick for everybody to see, and it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern on those streaming platforms.
Cool. So definitely check out your cards beforehand on the Facebook page, and then the episode 300 will be on Sunday.
Yes.
Perfect. And so that'll be after the football game, I assume.
Yeah, it'll be after all the day action for NFL and right before the Sunday night game.
There you go. Awesome. So I look forward to that, and hopefully you'll be excited. It's nice that you don't have a Commanders game on Sunday, though, so you can focus in on the wrestling at hand. Yeah, that should be awesome. Sith, let people know what's happening in the basement this week.
I would love this. So would Black GOP. This past Sunday, I just started a 10-week series of the top 180 songs ranked worst to best. This coming Sunday, numbers 450 to 401. And as I went through all 500 songs, there's some that I don't like, but a lot of them that just take me back. And it's like, oh man, this is awesome.
Nice. Awesome. I just put the Sith command. You can always find the basement on Spotify as part of the True Radio Network as well. So thank you both for joining. And I felt like today was a very throwback episode to the old school where we made pick'ems for all of them. We won't necessarily do that every single week, but I thought that, especially with a fresh season and a new season, that we'll do that. Just giving everyone a little sense of what's coming up in the upcoming episodes. We will be doing a show next week on the 15th. We'll recap the Thursday night football game, and we'll preview the Vegas game that'll be on the 21st. I'm actually leaving town on the 19th, and so I will be out of town for that weekend, including Monday, and I come back late on Tuesday. So there'll be no show on the 22nd, but I'm going to be doing a 1-hour Commanders recap show, not necessarily the full NFL and the full everything, but a 1-hour show on the 25th. It'll be at 10 o'clock. So that week we'll be doing a Thursday show. We'll look at the Thursday night football game live, and we'll also talk about how how the Commanders did against Vegas, and we'll preview the Atlanta game as well. So again, that'll be a special episode on a Thursday. I have back to school night at 6:30 for my son, so that's why it's gonna be a late start for that, because I got to get home after back to school night, and so it'll start right around 10. It may start a few minutes late, just because of that for obvious reasons. But that's at least the plan right now, is after back to school night, we will, on the 25th, still do an episode that week, because I don't want to skip the whole week, but I also, it'd be hard for me to do it from Texas. And then we'll be back on the 29th on our regularly scheduled time to recap that Atlanta game. Then in October, we'll be recapping the Chargers game on the 6th. And then on the 13th, we have a live game against Chicago. So it'll be a watch along that week. On the 20th, we'll recap Dallas week. Also during that watch along, we'll have to preview Dallas week, which will be an interesting show for sure. Again, the Dallas one is going to be on that Sunday the 19th, so we'll talk about that on the 20th. And then the following week, we'll be previewing the Kansas City game, but then we'll have a live watch along of the Kansas City game on the 27th. So that's a little look ahead in the next 2 months. Also, during those weeks, the 27th and the 20th, we will have hockey returning as well. So football will move into the second hour of that. We will obviously do a watch along while we're talking hockey for those games, but we'll have the football team joining us at 10 on those, as we will switch back to the hockey being at the 9 o'clock hour.
So basically what Robbie's saying is that me and Sis Time are about to get cut.
No, you're just later, not cut, later. So, got a lot of important stuff. Potentially Ovechkin's last season, so definitely gotta give that some reference as well.
So we're about to go from 30-minute bangers to 12-minute like opening match type shit. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, you know that I appreciate you guys, no matter how many minutes you're able to give. And you know me, I'm always willing to go late to have you guys stay on. So we'll probably go back to doing 2 to 3 hour shows, is the reality of those nights. But I look forward to it. We have an exciting next 2 months coming up. I'm so excited for Champ and Sith and the whole team over at the No Spots podcast. It's an exciting time. 307 seasons. I'm excited to work with Champ all day tomorrow, building out a really cool system. Hopefully it'll all work out, and we'll be able to do something very similar to what you see on here, interactive on multiple streaming things, have special effects and things like that too. So Champ and I have got our works cut out for us tomorrow, but hopefully all goes well, and I'll also get to have Champ live here in the man cave in just, I guess, less than 12 hours, so that's kind of fun, and so I look forward to that. And thank you, Sith, for joining us and making picks for now 10 seasons, which is wild. It's crazy that 2016 was when it all started, but I always appreciate your insight here. If people want to watch, still 5 minutes left. We got 1st and 10 with Minnesota having the ball. They're still up 3. Bears fans are getting real nervous.
Especially after they blocked the punt.
Yeah.
Get the ball back. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so a lot of exciting stuff still happening in that. So definitely go follow the No Spots podcast. Go follow The Basement. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Overreaction. JJ McCarthy is better than Caleb Williams. It's a rune in the comments there. Let me see really quickly where I want to rate us out to. Just going to take a quick look here. And I'm a big fan of Bob. And let's go. I don't know if I've ever gotten to rate him, because he doesn't usually stream on the same day that we do. But we're gonna do Bob Laho music. And we're going to go raid over to him right now. Let me do the raid command. Champ, while I'm doing this, any other DC news that we should know about before we get out of here?
This is not making the playoffs. United sucked. At least the Nationals won tonight. That's a good thing. They bull rushed Miami, but their season is pretty much done and dusted. So, yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Grab a raid call. We're going to Bob Blaho Music. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Sith, Champ, Arun, Dujanay earlier. What a fun show. Love Victory Mondays. Always a lot of fun. Hopefully, we get to do it again over Green Bay. We'll get to recap episode 300 for the No Spots next week as well. And definitely tune in to all of the different socials and channels. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. It's been a fun episode. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with another Victory Monday. We're going to head over right now to Bob. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Genyo.
Yeah.
Sayonara.